want to say how extremely disappointed I am for our fans, for all our staff, and even more importantly for our student athletes. They deserve better than this. They really did. But that doesn't matter now. We got to move on. Using a coaching analogy, is we had a tough loss, but we can't allow it to linger and cause another loss in the future. We've got to move on. We just have to. I'm going to spend my time focusing on the positives. The reality of it is, during the last 2 years, the excitement that his hiring caused and generated in the Cyclone Nation significantly increased our ticket base, drastically increased our number of donors and our donation levels, and as a result, we were able to invest over $20 million in our football stadium, and we were able to raise our assistant and coaching compensation pool to a level that keeps us competitive in a pretty wacky profession. Whoever we have coaching this football team needed us to make that kind of investment. And the reality is, without the excitement that was caused by his hiring, we couldn't have done that. We couldn't have made that investment. So we're in a much better position financially and structurally for whomever is leading our football team in the future. Secondly, I'm going to focus on the fact that we signed a lot of really talented student athletes over the last 2 years. Those student athletes did really well in the classroom and have been model citizens for us. And many of them got to play at a really young age and got a lot of playing time, which again is going to be a huge asset for us in recruiting a new coach to Iowa State University. I spent yesterday with the team. I spent last night in several of their apartments. I've been on the phone with many of them. This is really tough. This is hard for them. What I ask of everyone is, it's real easy to pile on. It's real easy to say this or that. But think about when you say that, what you're saying to those kids. Those kids don't think they were coached bad over the last 2 years. Those kids don't think they were 2-10. Those kids don't think they're not winners. So think about that. Because I spent a day with those kids, and I'm telling you, they're hurt. They're hurting because all of us feel disappointed, disillusioned, but no more than those kids in that locker room. Message to our fans. To the overwhelming number of fans that have written me or called me in the last 24 hours to express their support and their belief in what we're doing, I simply say thank you. That's why I'm a Cyclone. I believe in this place. And those people believe in what we're doing. The kids in that locker room believe in what we're doing. For those fans that have written me and are angry and upset and would like to see me leave town with him, I say, I understand your frustration. I empathize with you. And all I can tell you is, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure we get this thing right. We're on to a search. You know from the previous 2 searches how we're going to do things. I'm not going to take questions, or I'm not going to answer questions. I'll take them. But I'm going to give you the same answer as I don't talk about what we're doing in the coaching search. I'll just tell you that that's where our energy is going to be spent. And until we introduce another coach, we're simply not going to talk about what we're doing. We hired Coach Chizik for a lot of reasons, but in large part because I saw in him character and values that we saw for the last 2 years, up until this last week. I'm having a hard time reconciling those actions with what I've seen for the last 2 years. I understand why he did it. And if anybody in this room can't admit that they would give serious consideration to doing what they think is best for them, they're not being honest. But at the same time, I told him on Friday night, you can go do that. You don't maybe ever have to talk to Jamie Pollard again or think about Iowa State again. But I thought, based on what I know about you, that you couldn't do that. And for whatever reason, he chose to do that. And that's his choice. And am I mad about it, disappointed? Do I feel he betrayed me? I don't know. You know what? At this point, I don't really care because he can't help me win or lose another football game. And we're going to move on. And he's got to reconcile in himself what he told all these players and what he told our administration and what he's doing now. And if he can live with that, more power to him. I know Jamie Pollard couldn't have done that to this place. Watching our volleyball team beat UNI in Minneapolis last Friday night. I've got all the ADs in the country on my cell phone, and so when I saw Jay Jacobs come up on my cell phone, I knew he wasn't calling me to go play golf. I knew what he was calling me about. I knew that Gene was going down there to interview on Thursday. I had a voicemail from Gene on Thursday night telling me he wasn't taking the job. I spoke with Gene on Friday morning. He told me he wasn't taking the job. He was going to call them and say he's out. Between 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon, I couldn't get a return phone call or a return text, neither could Steve Malchow. And so I'm smart enough to know what was going on, that he had had a change of heart or something had gone awry. Told me on Friday night that they had offered him the job and that he was going there on Saturday with Jonna to decide whether he wanted it or not. On losing track of days here, on Saturday at late afternoon, I got the phone call saying he'd accepted the job, and we issued the statement. I don't think it's a stepping stone job for Jamie Pollard. I don't think any of our staff feels that way. I don't think the other coaches on our team feel that way. Christy Johnson's been approached by 6 schools in the last 2 years, and every single time she said not interested. I've been approached by 3 schools in the 3 years I've been here. Every single time I said I'm flattered, I'm honored, but I signed up to finish. I signed up for something here, and I'm going to finish it. Every person's got to make their own choice. Every situation's a learning opportunity. All right. You all were in the press conference when we hired him. Nobody thought it was a bad hire at that point in time. Everybody was excited. Our fan base spoke in volumes. Try to judge people's character. I think I'm gonna find it in myself to believe that he's still the person I thought he was. That's what I told our players. Find it in your heart to forgive him. Doesn't help you anymore going forward to harbor any ill feelings. So maybe that's what I've learned is when someone can kick you in the gut like that, that you can find a way to forgive them.